Welcome, Mr. Bannon. It's a great pleasure again. So we're going to jump right in. We have a number of questions for you. The very first question, we want to talk about what we perceived as a shift on the diplomatic front against the CCP. So on February 12th, the President Trump issued an executive order directing the Secretary of State, Mike Rubio, to revamp the foreign services, to implement his foreign policy agenda. But the next day, the February 13th, we noticed that the State Department website updated its fact sheets, both for the U.S.-China relations and U.S.-Taiwan relations. And notably, on the Taiwan-U.S. relations, it removing a statement that the U.S., it's saying that the U.S. does not support Taiwan independence. So, and it also revised the U.S.-China relationship fact sheets, replacing PRC with CCP. So we wanted to ask you, what are your thoughts on these significant alterations to the long-standing U.S. stance on Taiwan and what the implications to CCP?
Look, I think for the day, and particularly for your audience and Lao Beijing and people associated with the new federal state, particularly our audience that is watching us and listening to us in mainland China, the most significant things, and I'll get to the details of the State Department and some of these proclamations and these official statements. The most important thing today is to watch what's happening in Washington, D.C. There are two important things that are happening. Number one, Zelensky is there to sign a basically, minerals deal, but essentially to bring to an end the Ukrainian war. And the reason that it's happening is a predicate to an overall rapprochement between the United States and Russia is to take Russia out of the strategic alliance with the Chinese Communist Party. In addition, last night, the Mexican government turned over 29 of the capos, of the capo regimes, the leaders of 7 different Mexican drug cartels, who are the partners of the CCP in Mexico in the fentanyl business. So these are two massive strategic blows to the Chinese Communist Party. President Trump's actions, every action he's taken to date, is to take away the strategic power of the Chinese Communist Party on the Eurasian landmass, and also to stop the unrestricted warfare of the CCP against the United States. The Mexican drug cartels and the fentanyl crisis being the second opium war that they're running against the United States, or a chemical warfare attack that's killing 100,000 of our citizens. You couple that with Ukraine, which President Trump wants to bring peace to Ukraine immediately so he can begin an overall relationship, or an overall what I call rapprochement with Russia, specifically to turn Russia away from its influence with the Chinese Communist Party. That's, as you know, the strategic alliance that knows no bounds. The beginning of the end of that is today with Zelensky and Ukraine there. And that's why it's so important. And President Trump understood, right? This is why he was going to put the 25% tariffs on Mexico next Tuesday, that the tariffs were critical to start to end the chemical war. Now, at the State Department, I think the most important thing I would tell people to look at is the executive order he signed last week that restricts U.S. investments into any Chinese company that's associated with military technology. I think this is very important. It's the first time I've seen really using capital markets to shut down the CCP. So if you look at, number one, Ukraine, which is leading to a deal with Russia, and to break them up and make them closer of a partner to the United States against the CCP. If you look at shutting down the Mexican drug cartels as the fentanyl distributor of the lethal fentanyl from the Chinese gangs and the Chinese Communist Party who control the gangs or in partnership with them. And if you look at the executive order signed, really stopping the financing of Chinese companies, particularly in military and in advanced technology, I think that's huge. Now, I will tell you, I don't like the fact that he's taken that Marco Rubio, who's the most anti-CCP of all the cabinet members. I mean, Marco Rubio is anti-CCP. Scott Bessent, the Secretary of Treasury, is anti-CCP. Pete Hegseth, the Defense Secretary, is anti-CCP. And Michael Waltz, the National Security Advisor, is CCP. I don't like the fact that's come off, but people should understand. President Trump has been out front of this. He wants to stop the war in Ukraine. He wants to stop the war in the Middle East. And he wants to make sure that there's no military conflict around Taiwan. He's very adamant about that. Now, do I agree totally that the wording should come off? No. But I see what President Trump's trying to do. On one hand, he's trying to make sure that there's nothing in this relationship that gets off rails that leads to a kinetic war, kinetic conflict. At the same time, there's no president in our history, including President Trump's first term, that's putting as much strategic and tactical pressure on the Chinese Communist Party as President Trump, and he's only been there for, 35 days.
Sign up for free and be part of the movement.
It isn't just an app. It isn't just a social media platform. It's a community.
Download Get It right now.